For weeks, a father lived with quiet dread. His little girl smelled like something was rotting inside her. He cleaned, he prayed, he hoped it would pass. But the odor only grew stronger, and when the doctor finally revealed the truth, it shattered everything he believed about her health and about himself. Stay tuned to find out what the doctor discovered, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. On a quiet Thursday evening in Charlotte, North Carolina, David Hayes sat at the kitchen table helping his 8-year-old daughter, Lena, with her spelling homework. The house was warm, filled with the soft hum of the dishwasher and the faint smell of lemon cleaner, but something else lingered in the air, a strange sour scent, faint but persistent. At first, David thought it was the trash can under the sink. He gave it a glance, nothing overflowing. Then maybe the laundry? He made a mental note to check it later. But as Lena leaned across the table to grab a pencil, the scent grew stronger. It seemed to cling to her like smoke, not dirty exactly, but off, like something faintly rotten, masked under soap. He didn't say anything. Lena, bright-eyed and giggling, tapped her pencil against the page as she spelled out beautiful with full confidence. She was so proud of herself, so at ease. David didn't want to break that moment, not for something as silly as a smell. But that night, when he tucked her into bed and kissed her forehead, the scent was still there, stronger now, almost baked into her skin. He brushed a lock of hair from her face and gently sniffed again, just to be sure. It wasn't her pajamas. It wasn't the sheets. It was Lena. David didn't sleep well that night. By the end of the week, the smell was impossible to ignore. It followed her into the car each morning. It hovered faintly around her after school. Even fresh out of the shower, wrapped in clean towels and lavender lotion, it returned like clockwork. He bought new shampoos. He replaced the house air filters. He even tried switching laundry detergents. Nothing helped. At first, he thought maybe it was just him. Maybe he was being paranoid. But doubt slowly twisted into worry. He started watching how others reacted. At a playdate, he saw 2 little girls hesitate before holding Lena's hand. At the grocery store, a stranger glanced down at her with a slight wrinkle of the nose. Lena didn't seem to notice. She stayed cheerful, humming to herself, spinning slowly in the canned food aisle. But David noticed, and each time, the knot in his stomach tightened. One night, while she brushed her teeth, David stood in the doorway watching her. "Lena," he asked softly, "do you ever smell anything funny around you? Like a weird smell?" She looked up at him with wide, puzzled eyes. "Like what?" "I don't know, baby. Just anything different?" Lena shrugged and shook her head. "No, I think I smell like bubblegum toothpaste." She grinned and held up the tube proudly. David forced a smile, kissed the top of her head, and whispered, "You smell like sunshine to me." But the truth settled like lead in his chest. Something was wrong, and no matter how sweet her giggle or clean her skin, that strange scent wouldn't let them pretend otherwise. That night, alone in bed, David stared at the ceiling. He remembered the time she had asked why bees buzzed, or why stars looked like tiny holes poked in a blanket. Lena's mind was full of wonder and questions, but now, he had one question that haunted him. What was happening to his little girl? And why did no one else seem to have an answer? He turned over, stared at the clock glowing 2:13 a.m., and whispered to the darkness, "Tomorrow, I find out what this is, no matter what it takes." By Monday morning, David Hayes had already stripped Lena's bed, re-washed her blankets, and wiped every surface in her room with lemon-scented disinfectant. He'd spent the weekend deep cleaning the entire house, floors scrubbed, vents vacuumed, even the car shampooed inside and out, but none of it made a difference. The smell remained. That morning, as he buckled Lena into her booster seat, he caught it again, faint but sharp, hovering like a question mark between them. Lena was humming to herself, legs swinging freely, backpack clutched in her lap. David glanced at her in the rearview mirror and forced a smile. "Ready for school?" "Yup," she chirped, unbothered. But by mid-afternoon, the illusion cracked. His phone rang. Briar Hill Elementary, Lena's teacher. "Mr. Hayes," the voice said gently, "I wanted to reach out. There's been some concern in the classroom. A few students have mentioned a strong smell coming from Lena. I just wanted to check in and see if everything's all right at home." David's stomach twisted, shame, fury, helplessness. He thanked the teacher, hung up, and sat frozen in his car. His little girl, sweet, curious, innocent, was being talked about like a problem, like she was dirty. That night, He sat Lena down at the kitchen table, her untouched spaghetti growing cold. Her eyes were puffy, her hands quiet in her lap. She didn't need to be told. She already knew. "They called me names today," she whispered. David leaned in. "What kind of names?" She hesitated, then said, barely audible, Stinky. "Garbage girl. One boy said I smell like old fish. I didn't even eat fish." David felt something inside him break. "I take baths like you said. I brush my teeth. I use the pink soap you got me." "I don't know what I'm doing wrong," Lena choked out, tears welling in her eyes. "Oh, you're not doing anything wrong," David said, kneeling beside her, his voice thick. "Do you hear me, Lena? You haven't done a single thing wrong." He pulled her into his arms, and she sobbed quietly into his shoulder. That night, as she slept curled beneath her favorite blanket, David sat awake with his laptop, typing the words. "My child smells bad even after bathing." Forum posts, parenting blogs, medical pages. Theories ranged from mold exposure to rare genetic conditions he couldn't even pronounce. Most of it felt like noise, until one phrase kept popping up. If the smell is coming from their body, not dirt, not clothes, it could be metabolic. Metabolic. Something inside her? It was 2:47 a.m. when he finally closed the screen. His eyes were red, his hands were shaking, but his decision was clear. Tomorrow, he would call the doctor. He would not wait for this to get worse. Lena was not a joke. She was not a target. And whatever this was, he would find it before the world made her believe she was something broken. The next morning, David Hayes didn't go to work. He called in, cleared his schedule, and took Lena to the pediatric clinic. He didn't tell her everything, just that they were going to see someone smart who could help figure out what was going on. Dr. Maya Cole greeted them with a warm smile and gentle eyes. She'd been Lena's doctor since she was 5, and Lena always liked her colorful bracelets and the lollipops she kept in her coat pocket. But today, Dr. Cole's smile faded quickly. As she leaned in to check Lena's ears and throat, the scent hit her. David saw it in her eyes, a quick flicker of surprise, a tightening of the brow. She said nothing at first, just examined Lena quietly, hands careful and kind. "Any pain, Lena? No. Any tummy aches?" "Sometimes. Not a lot." "Still eating okay?" "I like chicken nuggets," Lena offered with a small smile. David answered the rest. Yes, she bathed daily. No changes in soap. No new foods. Well, maybe more eggs and tuna sandwiches lately. Lena loved tuna. Dr. Cole nodded slowly, took notes, then finally said, "Oh, I want to run some blood work, and I'll refer you to an ENT. Maybe a dentist, too. We'll cover every angle." "Do you think it's serious?" David asked. She hesitated just long enough to make his chest tighten. "I don't know yet. But I do know this isn't about hygiene. Let's rule out infections, blockages, and anything dental. Then we'll go from there." Over the next week, David ferried Lena from one specialist to another. The ENT cleared her ears and sinuses. The dentist found no cavities, no abscesses. Every room they entered smelled like antiseptic and disappointment. And still, the smell lingered. Lena started withdrawing. She avoided hugs, stopped raising her hand in class. She didn't want to sit next to other kids during lunch. "I don't want to bother anyone," she said once, eyes downcast. David's heart ached. He reassured her over and over, but the weight was clearly settling into her tiny frame. Then, on a rainy Friday evening, the phone rang. It was Dr. Cole. "David," she began carefully, "I just got some of Lena's blood panels. There are some metabolic markers that came back abnormal. It's nothing dangerous right now, but it could point to something rare." David gripped the phone tighter. "What kind of something?" "There's a condition. I'm not diagnosing it yet, but it's called trimethylaminuria. It's extremely uncommon. I want to do a genetic test to confirm." David blinked. "Trimethyl... what?" "It's also called fish odor syndrome. It affects how the body breaks down a compound in certain foods. When it builds up, it can cause a very strong odor in the breath, sweat, and urine, even when a person is perfectly clean. It's not their fault. It's genetic." He went quiet. "David," Dr. Cole continued gently, "don't panic. It's manageable. Let's take it one step at a time." That night, after Lena went to sleep, David sat at the kitchen table, laptop glowing in the dark. He typed the words slowly. Fish odor syndrome. Page after page opened. Clinical studies, support groups, parent forums. He read phrases like choline metabolism disorder, Lifelong, no cure, dietary management, psychosocial stress, and bullying. And then, most patients go years undiagnosed. Many suffer in silence. David's hands trembled. He looked toward the hallway, where Lena's nightlight cast a soft glow beneath her door. Finally, an answer. But the truth chilled him. If this diagnosis was right, Lena would have to carry it forever. Not an infection, not a phase, a lifelong condition, something she could manage, but never erase. And the world? It would not always be kind. He closed the laptop, pressed his palms together, and rested his forehead against them. Whatever this was, whatever came next, he would not let it break her. The following Thursday, David and Lena sat side by side in Dr. Maya Cole's quiet office. A soft rain tapped against the windows. Lena swung her feet nervously beneath the chair, holding her favorite stuffed rabbit in her lap, its ear frayed from years of love. Dr. Cole entered gently, a folder in hand, her face calm but serious. "The genetic test confirmed it," she said softly. "Lena has a condition called trimethylaminuria." David had heard the words before, read them dozens of times in the glow of his laptop, but hearing them spoken aloud by a doctor made it real in a way he wasn't ready for. "It means," Dr. Cole continued, looking at Lena now, "that your body has a little mix-up. When you eat certain foods, like eggs, fish, or beans, your body can't break down a special chemical the way other people's bodies can. So that chemical builds up, and it comes out in your breath, your skin, or your sweat. That's what causes the smell." Lena looked confused. "But I take baths." "I know, sweetheart," Dr. Cole said gently. "This has nothing to do with being dirty. You're doing everything right. This isn't your fault, not at all." David squeezed Lena's hand, but she didn't look at him. She just stared at the edge of the desk. Quiet. "So, it won't go away?" she asked. Dr. Cole exhaled slowly. "There's no cure, but there are ways to make it much better. Special diets, supplements, even soaps that can help. It's something you and your dad can learn to manage together." David nodded, but inside, he was spiraling. The guilt struck him like a wave. How many times had he told Lena to scrub harder? How many times had he sniffed near her without realizing it made her shrink inside? He felt his throat tighten. He wanted to say something, but couldn't. Then, Lena turned to him, voice barely a whisper. "Do I smell bad forever now?" David's heart cracked. He knelt down beside her, took her small hands in his. "No," he said, voice shaking. "You're not bad. Not ever. You're the strongest person I know. And we're going to fix this together, all right? Not because there's something wrong with you. Because I want you to feel as amazing as you really are." She looked at him, eyes glassy but searching. "Even if I smell sometimes?" she asked. "Especially then," he said. Dr. Cole gave them space. She spoke briefly about a referral to a metabolic specialist, about meal plans and scent-neutralizing products. But her voice faded into the background as David wrapped his arms around his daughter and kissed the top of her head. For the first time in weeks, the scent didn't matter. The smell was real. The condition was real. But so was the love between them. And David realized that was what Lena needed most right now. Not a solution, not a lecture, just someone who would sit with her in the storm and not let go. That night, back at home, Lena sat in her pajamas with a notebook, drawing food with big red X's through them. Eggs, fish, beans. She wrote, "No thank you," next to each. David chuckled softly, helping her list snacks they could still enjoy. They were learning, together, and in the warmth of their kitchen, for the first time in a long while, the air felt a little lighter. The rain had stopped by the next morning. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows as David and Lena sat together, flipping through cookbooks and grocery flyers. They were building something new, a life after answers. "Can we make a list of safe foods?" Lena asked, already doodling stars beside rice and apples. "Absolutely," David smiled. "And we'll call it your super list." Lena giggled. "Because I'm a superhero now, right? When you always were," he said, tapping her nose. "And now the world's just catching up." From that day forward, David devoted himself to learning everything he could. He joined a support group for families managing trimethylaminuria. He read medical journals late into the night. He created a routine, special soap for Lena's baths, scent-neutral laundry rinse, and daily meal tracking. It was work, yes, but he never treated it like a burden. Because it was for her. He also knew that the battle wasn't just physical, it was emotional. At school, with Lena's permission, David met privately with her teacher. He explained the condition, what it was, and more importantly, what it wasn't. They created a quiet plan. Lena could excuse herself any time she felt self-conscious. The school agreed to gently introduce a classroom lesson about kindness and differences, without naming her, but with just enough care that Lena would feel seen without being exposed. And it worked. Slowly, the changes started to show. The smell, while not gone, became manageable. The teasing at school faded as kids grew more curious than cruel. One day, Lena came home beaming. "A girl in my class invited me for a sleepover," she said, eyes wide. She said, "I'm funny and kind and smell like strawberries now." David almost cried, not because of the strawberries, but because his little girl was smiling again. That night, as he tucked her into bed, she looked up at him beneath the soft glow of her nightlight. "Daddy?" she whispered. "Yeah, baby. Are you happy?" David paused, brushing a curl behind her ear. "I'm happy because I have you." Lena smiled. Her eyes fluttered closed. The room smelled faintly of vanilla, the candle they lit each night now, not to mask anything, but because she liked how calm it made her feel. As David stepped out, he looked back one last time. This room, this child, this journey, had changed him. He'd entered it thinking he was chasing a smell, but in truth, he was learning to listen to the quiet signals, the whispers of a child too brave to complain, and the call of a love that refused to fail her. This story began with confusion, a strange odor, an innocent child, and a father unsure of what to do. But what it revealed was something much deeper, how love shows up when it matters most. David learned that the answers we seek don't always come quickly or cleanly, that some struggles don't look the way we expect, and that sometimes the most invisible battles are the ones that shape us the most. And Lena, she discovered that having a rare condition didn't make her any less loved. In fact, it revealed just how deeply she was cherished. In a world quick to judge what it sees or smells on the surface, this father and daughter proved that understanding, compassion, and a fierce kind of love could turn even the most difficult truth into a path toward hope. How many silent struggles go unnoticed, simply because we judge what we don't understand? Tell us in the comments if this story touched your heart or changed the way you see others. And thank you for being here, not just as a viewer, but as someone who chose to listen, to feel, and to understand. We will see you in the next story.